Good evening and welcome to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and today I have a very special guest, Dr. Peggy Valentine. Dr. Valentine is the Interim Chancellor here at Fayetteville State University. Welcome, Dr. Valentine.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. Now, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into nursing as a profession. That's the first thing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your educational experiences. Then, of course, after that, let's talk a little bit about nursing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I grew up in Danville, Virginia, actually out in a rural community called Ringgold, Virginia. And my family grew tobacco, and I absolutely hated that type of work because it means you'd be in the hot sun and out there on tractors and with the insects and all of that. And I watched what girls did when they graduated from high school. Most of them got married young, had children. And I said, well, I really don't want to have that kind of life. I want to do something different. And so at the age of 12, I visited a hospital where a relative was hospitalized and was so intrigued with the black nurses. They wore white uniforms and white crisp hats. And I said, wow, I'd like to do that. So after graduating from high school, I went to the DC area and worked for a year because my family could not afford to send me to college. And so after saving up enough money, I went to nursing school and became a nurse, and it was like one of the best decisions I ever made.
Wonderful. And I love the way, Dr. Valentine, you said that you saw the black nurses.
Yeah.
Once again, that's why it's so important for younger black girls to be able to see us and want to emulate us and look up to us. That is very key and very important.
Yeah, I think that we need to have more role modeling, and for those of us who are in various positions, we have an opportunity to touch the lives of those young girls when they're emulating us, and to let them know what's possible. And then in turn, we create this opportunity for more girls to be developed at a young age, and they can become mentors for the next generation. And we keep it going that way.
Okay. So Dr. Valentine, tell us about the process of becoming an interim chancellor. What was that process like for you?
Well, I got a call. I had worked as on the faculty at Howard University for a number of years, and I was asked by a recruiter to become dean at Winston-Salem State. And after having done that for 13 years, I got a call one day. They're looking for a chancellor, an interim chancellor, to serve Fayetteville State University. And would you be interested? And it's just as if something inside of me leaped, say, yes, I would like to try that. And so that's how I got here, and it has been an amazing journey. Stepping into a position, I would say stepping into big shoes, because James Anderson was the chancellor before me. He did an amazing job, and so stepping in to lead an institution that has, in many ways, is very great, is doing great things in the community, and to leave my mark as the interim chancellor.
Okay. Now, speaking of that, would you be interested in becoming the actual chancellor of Fayetteville State
Well,
University?
I try to be led by divine intervention, and so the 8 weeks I've been here, it's been amazing. I feel that there are some opportunities here where I can make a difference. And I would like to have an opportunity, if the faculty and the staff, the alumni and the students feel this is something they would like to see me do, I would be interested in looking at the opportunity in a closer way. But I want to feel that calling, that this is something that I am called to do. And right now it feels very, very good.
That's a good thing, okay. So what was it that drew you into academic leadership?
I think that from being the oldest child, you know, we lead, taking care of young children who are at home. And when I graduated from high school and went to the DC area, leadership position after leadership position came my way. I worked as a nurse. 3 years later, I was asked to be a charge nurse. And I took care of nursing on a floor where I had the opportunity to assign nurses to other units on the weekend shift and the evening shift. And after leading that, I became a PA. And so working as a PA, I graduated from Howard University. 1 month later, I was called to ask, would you join the faculty? And 3 years later, after serving in a faculty role, I was asked to be department chair. And so life has just opened up opportunities for me to serve in leadership positions. So I feel like I've been leading for a long time, and certainly serving as the dean and working with faculty in the community, all of that has helped me to get to where I am today. And I feel comfortable in the position because as a leader, you get a chance to effect change. You get a chance to affect the next generation of whether they're educators or students who are going to the health professions or business. You get a chance to share your thoughts, your ideals with them in terms of what's possible and how one can become a leader, and you keep it going for generations to come.
Love that, okay. Now, what are your thoughts so far regarding FSU, and how do you feel about the future of the campus giving, what you've seen and heard so far?
Yeah, this is such an amazing place. It truly is. You know, I think about the faculty and the work that they do on a day-to-day basis, the unique programs, the opportunity with the military right in our backyard. This is such a special place, but the story has not been told in a way that I feel that the university deserves. And I would like to work with the faculty and the staff to tell that story so the rest of the world know how great this place is. There are some amazing programs, the SAP in the School of Business, nursing, education. I could just list so many programs where they're making a huge difference in our communities. And so I want the world to hear these stories, to hear the stories about this young man who is blind and he's leading a student organization, to hear the stories of the military mother who has children at home but she's deployed and comes back periodically, but yet she's able to continue her education online or right here on campus and making a difference in the world. To share the stories about students who are studying abroad, you know, where they're in China, and now we're developing relationships with Africa, Malawi. We had a delegation here last week. And to let those students and the community know that this is an amazing place, you want to be part of it because the university is changing lives. The university is opening doors, opportunities for students to do amazing things in our communities, as they have done for the last 152 years. And so it's just an amazing place, and I would like to be part of telling that story to the rest of the world.
Okay, great, great. Now, I'm sure being an interim chancellor is very stressful, so how did you de-stress? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I try to do my very best in staying grounded.
Okay.
And staying grounded to remind myself why I'm here. I'm here to serve students. I'm here to help these students realize their potential. And so I do readings, inspirational reading, Bible, inspirational books, to help me stay focused and help me to stay grounded. And the other things I try to do, I make sure I try to eat properly, get good sleep, rest, exercise. I try to exercise every day if I can. I try to de-stress by getting a massage every now and then and going to the movies, doing things with family and friends when I can. So it's really, for me, de-stressing is a lifestyle that you embrace. And you start it early so that when you're in stressful moments, you go to that strong influence in your life, whether it's a strong power, a higher power, and helps me to relax and helps me to stay grounded and focused.
Okay. Speaking of inspirational books and things, what is the last book or the book that you're currently reading at this time?
Well, you know, we had on our campus a couple of weeks ago, Kylan Moore, who wrote the book, A Dream Too Big. This is a young man who grew up in Compton, California, who had a life that was very, a tough life, trying to escape gangs, violence, being shot at, people trying to recruit you to sell drugs, and how he overcame those negative circumstances and how he was able to persevere, and how his mother worked with him to go to school, to stay focused, and later became a Rhodes Scholar.
Wonderful.
And to me, that's just so inspirational. This young man's only 25, 26 years old, and who's done all these things in his life. It's just amazing. So that's the most recent book I've read, and certainly there are a number of other books that I find very inspirational as well to help us on these journeys to understanding life. I love reading biographies, Michelle Obama's, Becoming. I find it to be very inspirational. Colin Powell's book, just amazing work that people have done in living their life, but also the stories and things they went through, how we can draw strength from that in our journey.
Okay. Speaking of publishings, I'm assuming you have some publishings as well.
Yes, so I'm the founding editor for a journal, the Journal of Best Practices in Health Professions Diversity, which is a book. It's a journal that we have 2 subscriptions a year, and it gives opportunities for faculty to publish papers on what they have done to increase diversity in the health professions.
Oh, okay.
And so we've done that now for about 11 years, and so I enjoy writing when I get a chance, and so that leads to writing editorials and writing articles, and so my main focus is how do we increase diversity in not only the health professions but in education? How do we open opportunities for people who want to go to college, and how do we tell those stories? These are the best practices how you can go to college, and how you can identify ways, identify mentors, and acquiring financial aid, and all the things you need to be successful in college. So those things are very important to me.
Very important to me as well. I speak with my babies at school all the time in the morning announcements about attending college and at least obtaining your bachelor's. And of course we talk about not wanting to live from hand to mouth. So those are the kinds of conversations that I have with my babies as well. It's very important. I love that, Dr. Valentine.
Thank you.
Now there's been some talk about getting the university back into NC Promise. Is that a possibility?
Well, it's something that I'm hoping we can make happen. We've learned firsthand that the universities who received NC Promise, they are growing in leaps and bounds. And I think making educational more affordable provides an opportunity for students who will not have a chance to go to college, that they can enroll and receive the same quality education at a reduced cost. But I also want to say that Fayetteville State University already has a reduced cost. When we look at other universities, right now that cost is about $3,000 a year, which is a lot cheaper than many private institutions and even many of our state institutions. But if we charge students $1,000 a year as opposed to $3,000, I think we have an opportunity to increase our enrollment. So that is something that I will be looking into to see if this is something that we can embrace as a university. And because my desire is to go from 6,500 students to perhaps 7,500 students.
Okay.
Because all of that, I think that we want to give more students an opportunity to receive a quality education at Fayetteville State University, and NC Promise is an opportunity for us to do that.
Okay. Talk a little bit more about NC Promise for those that may be watching and listening and want to know a little bit more about it.
So the Board of Governors and the UNC system were able to award these opportunities for HBCUs and other minority serving institutions, and even West Carolina, that you can enroll students at reduced cost and to increase your enrollment. And we know that a lot of the students who come to our universities don't have the resources to pay the full tuition. And so with the idea of offering $1,000 opportunity to enroll in college, having $1,000 tuition, and you still receive the UNC match, about $10,000 per student, it makes it very, very affordable. And so if we see what has happened on campuses such as Elizabeth City State University, East Carolina University, well not East Carolina, but Pembroke, Western Carolina University, how their enrollment has blossomed in a great way. Even though we experienced an increase in enrollment as well, but I'm thinking that if we had the NC Promise, that perhaps we could have also grown in a greater way. So I think it's an opportunity for us to grow our enrollment, to provide more opportunity for the citizens of North Carolina so they can achieve their dreams of becoming a professional in our communities.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much, Dr. Valentine, for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
And thank you, audience, for viewing the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner. Have a good one.
Hypnotized, familiar stranger, wait, hold up, don't run, I don't bite.